any credit to use the platform. To use the platform. No, I'm also
without answering.
I'm putting on the cross. Don't use your privileged position of being the host of the platform to paint a ridiculous political.
I asked a very innocent question.
You are also part of a deeper state then.
I think that is a statism now. I asked a very simple question.
No, I'm also asking you. What I'm asking you, as a man of a good will and good heart, who wishes Uganda well, who wishes political party well, what benefits do you get in persisting on that line?
Leonard, because is it important for the country to interrogate?
You are also part of the dark. Of the deeper state.
No, I think you're just being paranoid.
No, I'm not being paranoid.
You're just being paranoid.
Because you've come back on it.
Yes, it's very important.
It's as if it's what brought you here.
You are not giving us answer.
As if it's what you. Njala.
You're not giving us answer. You're simply
starting. Let me also be personal to you. Because Njala, I know you were at one time disappointed with you. Because you have ever thought it's cut. And you failed. Don't use that opportunity here. Prevent your.
I have never thought. You did. That's for the record.
You are my friend. I know what you are doing.
Never.
And you don't use that frustration. You've been a parliamentary candidate and failed and Nope defeated you. And you want to use that opportunity? Yes. No. Yes. No. You don't see any Nbstv.
I think you don't have history.
You will not see any Nbstv.
Was there a Nope in 2016? No, was there a Nope in 2016? They solved it before he expressed interest.
No.
That's quite
No. Don't get me wrong.
Did you express interest?
Not in this election. I'm speaking about last election. We are DP supporters. They are not DP supporters. They are not NUP supporters. Because we were asking that question earlier. Did you see the NUP supporters also shift? They are not your supporters. They are not FD supporters. They are Ugandans who are pursuing change. If you give them the best opportunity to achieve it, they will follow you. If a person emerges next week and he represents that best opportunity to remove Museveni, even if all of you stay in NUP, including the councillors who have gone to FDC, they will leave you the same way they left FDC, left DP, and left everybody. They are not your supporters. Yes. And that's why I told him David Andesari at the beginning of his party, invited me to speak to his party. They had wanted me to join. And I told him Uganda is in a very difficult position where every election is a referendum on Museveni. And in a referendum, there are usually two sides. So you cannot establish a third one. So people... Why did you establish this PFF, which is in the 20th party there? PFF has a...
It was going to be a two-horse.
PFF has objectives that are short-term and long-term. We might go into this election, we have said this many times, even when you defeat Museveni, he will cheat you. So if you are a short-term objective person, then you will go home and sleep. That's why Simugere, when they lost, they went to Kawus to cry. And they said they will never participate in election. Please don't judge us the same way. For us, our objective, first of all, we want to participate in this process. We want to aid them. You don't have to be the one driving them or upon. Muwanga Kivumbi was DP when you're supporting Dr. West. I've gone, we've been to many constituencies of DP before, they have been to our constituencies. And that's why for me, I'm not emotional about a political party. So even if you come here to rubbish PFF, I don't lose sleep. Because PFF is just any other vehicle to aid the process. They can be more than one. When Museveni was in the world fighting, there are other fighting groups. Moses Sari was in West Nile, he was in Kwanga and so on. Don't bastardize.
You're coming off as scavengers now, wanting to crush the National Unity Platform by poaching all their members.
First of all, you are using your choice of words. They don't understand it. if there is an internal process in a NOP, and some people think it is unfair, or they think that the opportunity for them to access a political office has gone to someone else, and then they go to pursue it in a different. We are not poaching. We've presented ourselves, but there are also people who have left us and joined the NUP. I have 2 MPs.
This kind of rivalry, is it healthy competition?
It is no more. I don't lose sleep because someone has left. I was with 2 MPs when we were starting PFF in Ginger. Both of them went to be in Muwanga Kivumbi. I don't think he poached them, but we thought the NUP was giving them the best opportunity to go and join the parliament. I don't begrudge them. In fact, for me, if people keep moving from parties to opposition parties, I don't feel bad. I feel very bad if they have joined NRM. This is scavengers. Because I know I'll have...
No, you're the one who said choice of one.
I know I will have lost them. But if colleagues abandon me and they think I'm not offering...
I have never bothered to try to convince this man to join NRM. Because I'm sure he wants to give us any value.
So can I complete? You see, a person leaving NUP to join PFF or vice versa, for me is not a loss. The loss is someone who has run mad and has joined NRM. The point of
are you saying
but in politics it's what we call keep them busy, take them nowhere. You are busy, there is a lot of political activity taking place, but we are not making any headway as people who are aspiring for change.
I agree with you, because part of the challenges we face as political parties in Uganda, that all of you running political parties are also candidates in the next election. I was in Ghana when someone resigned as a member of parliament to go and become secretary general of a political party. Even then, when I have been a journalist here covering elections, when campaigns are ongoing, there was a time when they were pleading people to go and sit at their headquarters, massive as they claim. So you visit our headquarters during campaign, you may find nobody there, everybody from the president has gone. So
there's a huge group, about 10 of them, we told them
that's a new development.
Don't go for elections, you're going to run the party activities.
That's a new development.
And NRM has never been vacant because in all our elections, in our past 4 elections, Chairman Chigongo has been the chairman of Water Sports. I have been the spokesperson. I'd never run for office. When I was in that party, I had plot 10. I never ran for office.
Do you think?
So, there is no poaching. We have
and there are no scavengers also.
In NRM there are scavengers.
No.
So the movements of individual or groups of people, they may legitimately be running away from unfair internal party processes. And we have a duty as managers of these parties to improve our own processes. You cannot be criticizing NRM for their mistakes and then you cover up yours. Then you will be pretender.
Thank you. Honorable Muwanga Kivumbi, how complex does your relationship become with comrades like PFF and others who are now poaching from your camp?
Actually, you see, poaching, I keep saying, for me the movement of the elite doesn't worry me.
These are elites.
Yeah, these are elites. Yeah, the organization of doesn't bother me. I look at the movement of the tectonic plates. Are they a ground movement on ground that is shifting?
Is Madada among the elites?
No, what I'm saying, of course. Who is an elite? An elite doesn't mean someone with a degree or a professor.
But Madada
even
is
in
a
villages,
foot
they are elites. For villagers.
Madada is a representation of
what I'm saying. No, what I'm saying. Even when she's a foot soldier, she's an elite in a foot soldier. Okay, so understand. She's a warrant officer, class 1. So Madada is not your ordinary foot soldier. Madada, by the way, has been an actor. She has been in FDC. She was there, cadre. Moved in here. We know who these people are, where they've come from. So she's not your ordinary actor. So she's an elite. They worry, as Honorable Semju put it, at the back of the people is they want to see us being efficient, having a special purpose vehicle, one, to convey their issues. Even if we don't remove Museveni, to make sure that their issues are brought to the table. And what hurts me, and where you are doing a disfavor, is that this time, 4 months to an election, the entire discussion is on which egg has broken, on which tray, not the nature of the eggs you have. So that's the discussion.
So you
can I hear? That's why I've said, I told you at the beginning, that this discussion and most of electoral processes are subversive to the common man's cause. Because as Sam just told you, the people of Uganda today, we've seen it. At one time they were with the Seya. They moved with whoever. They moved with whoever. So at every time, they will follow a particular leader that they think represents the best chance on taking on Museveni. If it is Akena here, they will support him. If it is Njala, they will support you. They are that generous.
Do you want to suggest that?
That's why I ask you a fundamental question. That it's not in your interest as Simon Njala to puncture as a semblance of being effective. No, he says ratify the mistakes. Ratify the mistakes.
You are allowing Bonatemwa to get out with a contradiction. He's contradicting himself. At one point he says that the elites can move and the ground doesn't move. And then then he moves very fast and he tells you people have been moving with elites.
No. Understand?
He himself moved when he moved.
No.
Mutambala shifted.
Yes, Mutambala shifted and went.
No. Understand me. Understand. This is where me and Semju agree. Is that the people of Uganda, on their and you spoke about it, they want a better run country. They are tired of Museveni. They think he has failed them, and he thinks today they are in imposition. The NRM today, or to the people of Uganda, they are in imposition by virtue of either having a monopoly of forces of coercion.
I just want to tell our viewers that we are now switching to Afro
and their chance to go to our consolidated fund. So they use those two vintage and run the state infrastructure to impose themselves on the people of Uganda. Even if they legitimize that through a semblance of an election. But the fact is that you are using coercion, you are using a consolidated fund, because here can tell you, all those people he says, they have been told, don't run, you run a secretariat, they're going to be put on the same salary as ministers, from whose money. That's why today, all knows, we have a 4 trillion classified budget. And this year is going to be 6, this financial year, because there is an election. I can even tell you they have overdrawn. Even as we speak now, because we are entering an election, they have already having an overdraft of a bank to run. Now, if you have this kind of a regime that this has this access to our nation, scavenging on our national resources. No, we are not legitimizing a facade, but also let me ask you, what option do you have? For all of us, be like you, become analysts.
Yes.
No. You want us to be like you.
Fine. Honorable Muwanga, it's almost time.
When we ask Muwanga Kivumbi about allegations of bribery, sex, and so on in NOP, he says, you prove it. For NRM, he picks and the throw says, you have overdrawn, you have raided the console. Can you prove it?
Yeah, you know. Take me, I will prove you.
You, to take your word, you.
He has been a shadow.
On those matters, I'm more knowledgeable than you.
You has been a shadow minister for defense.
The table the evidence here. Table the evidence here that NRM has raided.
Yes. Tell me, where did you get the money for sponsoring your conferences?
No.
Tell Uganda, you have been a spokesperson. Do you know how much money you spent?
First of all.
Do you know how much money you spent? Tell us whether you did any fundraising to raise that money.
When we do fundraising,
no, I'm asking you, where did you get the money to sponsor this Nambola affair and in Korolo?
Okay, Muwanga, let him respond.
When we fundraise,
tell us your social.
Must you come to here and tell you that this way we have that's true. I am even surprised that Muwanga, who is a member of parliament, so-called shadow cabinet, whatever finance, doesn't know that the government of Uganda, through a law, through the Ministry of Finance and the Electoral Commission, gives NRM money and the other political parties represented. You know how much that money is. Assuming you are financially literate and intelligent, you can keep that money, you can accumulate it, and you run a bigger thing like that conference you had. But also, NRM is not new in the government. NRM was, before government, NRM was somewhere. Did they used to fundraise?
So where did you get the money?
No, but the OO is also misleading. So where was the NRM before government?
NRM,
where was it?
You don't know that there was NRA, there was NRM?
The NRM was a ragtag army in the bush. It was not anywhere accessing resources. They were robbing banks.
You don't know. I'm asking you. They were robbing banks. Now you take it from me. They take it from me. They might have robbed the banks, might have taken the profit, but they also fundraise. And I can tell you, NRM has international sponsors legitimately. NRM does fundraising here. We don't have to go and announce in the public that you're doing the fundraising.
But they're not required to
what happened to the money which they fundraised for
Let's allow O to make a point in a couple of minutes, then I'll get to finally some of
it. The point I'm saying is, NRM was there before being in the government. NRM, NRA, they fundraise the resources, including the money, to prosecute that war. 2, NRM has been raising money internally because NRM has the largest membership, probably even the richest membership in the country. 3,
NRM has the hula dealers.
3, you can call them hula dealers, but as long as you have not proved that they have robbed from somebody else, as long as the sources of their money is legitimate and is running in the country, they can contribute to NRM. 3, and which you should be able to see, visible, the government of Uganda, that money, the government of Uganda gives political parties represented in the parliament, NRM takes the biggest chunk.
Thank you. Honorable Semuju, as we say now,
and since we are intelligent in using money, we know how to accumulate and grow our money. Yes.
You remember a company called the Danze?
Well, yes, I do.
You remember?
Yes, I do.
What happened to it?
Yes, I do.
What happened?
Well, it was collapsed. And that's the
Honorable Semuju, we want to get out of here, but
you are running petrol stations. But do you run all of them efficiently?
Before I bring you on, Honorable Kena, do you think the relationship amongst parties is becoming more complicated over time because of failed internal processes and suspicion towards each other?
No, I'm failed internal processes, not necessarily. I will agree to some extent where my colleague here talks about internal interference. That one happens. But it should not make us lose sight. And like he quoted some of the court cases, but I can also give you other court cases. The last court case said I'm the president, but my term was supposed to end on the 1st of August. So what I did in that period, I was doing so with official recognition or as a president. Then you have a ruling of 2015 by Justice Musota, where you remain president until there's an election held. So there's a lot of confusion there. And when we sort out court issues, eventually we sort out. But for me, my politics is not in court. It is also not in the media. It is on the ground. That is where you'll find me. So whether he's bringing his son with PLU, they'll find me on the ground, controlling the ground.
Yeah,
so
but
you
remember,
make your noise here.
You're not a registered voter. You know that.
I will sort that one.
You're not on the register.
I have gone through many hurdles. In these last 2 months, hurdles have come left, right, and center, but I'm still moving ahead. End of the day, we shall be on the ground. And I'll urge all other political players, all this nonsense, fighting each other, don't bother. You hold the ground. And the issue which is we must have a clear message for the people of Uganda as to where we're going. If we don't clear that one, we're just going to be going around, pushing around. And let me end on this issue. I'm a rider, motorcycle rider. I also do the racing. There's something which you have to teach kids quite early, what you focus on. Very often what you focus on is what you're going to hit. If your focus is completely there, you're going to hit that item. So you have to be able to think around. Now, if your whole issue is Museveni is this, Museveni is Museveni, you'll see Museveni. Even where he's not, you will see him. Even where he's not interfering, you will see him. You must have your own plan, your route, and how you're going to cut through there.
Thank you. Honorable Semuju, as we get out of here, do you think these are quite unprecedented times for the opposition? As someone who's been in the trenches.
See, what worries me is not the movement of people or the disagreement, because those are normal. Even in NRM they exist. The reason Kadaga cries at call is not because they agree. The only reason she doesn't leave NRM is because they all want to parasite around the state. what bothers me as what bothers me as a Ugandan and should bother everybody is that we've been ushered into a family military rule. All the state institutions have been appropriated. They are now under the direct control of Museveni, and because he's of old age, his son by extension. I was in Mitiana to open an office and swear in new leaders of PFF who were tear gassed on a very simple civic exercise. We were even running out to come to radio stations. Yesterday I told the Parliament I was in Muwanga to open, to speak to my constituents, so I invited them to open their office. Police confiscated the tents and chairs, and they said you are supposed to be in a hall, not in open space. I have seen the draconian regulations the Electoral Commission is issuing during this electoral period, and then immediately they issue them, police is amplifying them. We are prepared each election cycle that first thing you prepare, you're going to be beaten, you're going to be arrested, you're going to kill people. So these stories of people who are abandoning parties and joining others, you're going to forget them tomorrow when they begin corroborating people with military that they have deployed everywhere. I'm saying that one day I said the military must be in barracks. Now it is on the street. It is behind our houses. So those are the things that should bother everybody, including Ofono Pondo, who works in this government. But we're going to an election. He's retired. We're going to an election in which our hands. I am paid to oppose government.
Yeah, you are working in it. You are working in it.
Okay, I mean if that pleases.
You are working in one branch of government.
If that pleases,
that branch belongs to the people of Uganda. It's National Assembly. It's not NRA.
No, I have said
it's National Assembly of Uganda. NRA will go, it will still be there. Whichever party comes, it will be there.
What you have said is okay. I want to hear you speak about the military.
Kenya was on top of it, but jumped on it. The questionable behavior of political elites vis-a-vis a national cause. Right now, what should have been a dominant discussion? 5 months, when is the elections? January? January, we are in September. You hardly have 4 months. But there's no discussion of any policy disagreement. No picture of a common Ugandan in the whole of this discussion. Across the when I saw the NRM,
because parties are not anchoring that discussion in that direction.
That's why I said, that's why deliberately I told you that elections are subversive. That's why I said elections are subversive to the growth and the interest of Uganda.
Is bribery in your party inconsequential?
Njala, don't be so sentimental.
No, I'm not being sentimental. I'm being realistic.
Can I tell you?
I've had complaints of bribery.
Can I ask you, bribery, prove it. These are challenges everywhere. The giver and the one who gives has an issue. Those who allege that their money were taken, why did they give it? I'm asking. The one who says, I bribed. So, you see, don't be so emotional.
No, I'm not being emotional. But this is very painful. The country looks up to as an alternative is
we need to have a process that is above board. That's a given.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
The party needs to have a process that is above board.
Was this problematic this time?
That there are those elements as an institution, we investigate them. We set up a whole board of appeal to hear those cases. Even when the party went through the process, said, okay, we can't conclude it. Let's create an avenue for appeal. And a lot of issues have been appealed and results changed. We are at that level.
Okay.
But also, we operate in a given political environment that's not dictated by us. We are not about, we are in, do you know what is called Nyunden? Ask him. Nyunden, vis-a-vis spiritual. We are not a spiritual movement. We are a Nyunden movement. We live on earth. What has happened, let me ask you, all these people who says don't agree, same Junos, that the day you open FDC to legitimate open political competition is when Museveni arrived at your top chap. No, this is the reality. That is the day we opened the DP. The day we opened the DP to what is called a legitimate election. That's when Museveni arrived. And today you are now in a new political formation away from FDC that you know. Museveni is
the very things that you used to accuse. The very things that you used to accuse. Listen. Yes. The very things that you used to accuse Trump have come to haunt you now. Favoritism, bribery. Those are what.
Processes. I want to be fair to you. You are naive.
Thank you.
You are naive to the extent.
But what I'm putting on the table is the reality.
What I'm saying, you are naive.
Fine.
A political movement today that legitimately wants to oppose Museveni must acknowledge certain realities, and he has been very clear. Is that one, Museveni uses voter bribery, the whole trinity of NRM. It is vote rigging, bribery, and intimidation. Those are key things in his life.
But I think you're running away from your own problems. And
you are not running away. It's simply unlike you, who is
what characterized your election, your process was fraud.
Now, the difference between you and us is that for us, we are in the deep end of a swimming pool. For you, you're in some category somewhere. Okay? And you are deliberate to reason the way you reason.
Honorable Semuju, you come in.
I think the opposition political parties, I have told you in PFF, even when you read our constitution, there is consensus building, there is vetting, and then you can appeal to the committee of eminent persons. Our processes as they are in our constitution are not different from what Muwanga Kivumbi has. I disagree with those processes. We cannot hide because there is security, there is interference. It means you must tighten your own processes, but there must be processes. If I am a candidate, I must, because you see, I don't want us to exploit the vulnerability of people and then say, why did you come to me? Then you have no reason to blame NRM for exploiting vulnerability of citizens. So political parties as institutions must establish processes. I was in Tanzania. Tanzania will have general elections, and I think they choose direct constituency MPs and presidential at the same day, and then they have seats for affirmative action. That's how they choose the women who are in parliament. I spoke to those who are in Chadema, female MPs, and they tell me in Chama cha Mapinduzi, you cannot go through if you're not a mistress of one of the people. Or
is that what is in the no?
I'm talking about Tanzania. I'm talking about Tanzania. They told me Chadema, which is an opposition.
You can't be a leader in CCM.
Can you allow me unless you're mistress of one? I'm going to use this point, which is a good point. They told me in Chadema, they have established criteria, published them. Before you subject yourself to a process, you will know if you are of this academic qualification, you have these points. If you have served the party for this period of time, you have these points. If you do this, by the time you go to Chadema to seek endorsement, if you are 3, you will know if an opponent has beaten him even before the process has started. So the women, credible women, are no longer going to parliament through the ruling party. They want to go through Chadema. At least have criteria, even if you're going to have vetting. That vetting must be based on established criteria. So that, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about something that I know.
Are you implementing that in PFF?
I have told you I don't agree with what you are doing now, but
that's why the man is
Muwanga Kivumbi, you want to speak and parade yourself as if you are very big. Let me tell you, the day the results are published of how many councillors you have fielded, of how many chairpersons, you will shrink. And I don't want you to come here and pretend that PFF is going for you a bid. You are judging yourself against yourself. The day you judge yourself against the established position in Uganda, you will not come back to this show. So stop parading yourself as if you are big. For me, the
of your academic qualification, and you get a score. Okay? They ask you about a party ideology. They ask you a number of questions. And on each, by the question here is even,
is it out in the public realm?
It's it's even in they ask you how educated are you, how long have you been a party member, ask you about party ideology. Then secondly, they do one which is controversial is what they call the ground survey. And I can tell you, Honorable Semuju, for all the weaknesses in NUP, I tell you, and you know, Eddie Awe wanted to stand in Ichira, and he's a brother of Bobby Wayne. In Ichira, your own constituency. The ground survey brought a different candidate. Eddie Awe was dropped.
So you conducted the survey before you expressed interest?
No.
That's quite
No. Don't get me wrong.
Did you express interest?
Not in this election. I'm speaking about last election. We are the party, we are the Nachifuma. For all intent, and I can tell you this, there was this presenter, Patrick Omujuko, very close to Bobby. Ground survey brought a one symbol, unknown very well in the political stuff, as a leading candidate. He's the one who really took over.
Yeah, do you agree there is a lot of opaqueness in the ground survey?
So
that is the science that makes us stick.
So ISO did not integrate the
that is the science that makes us stick. That is the science that makes us
stick. Process quite admirable.
This is a product.
Muwanga says their ambiguity is what makes them tick.
No. Yes. No. Came on a pedestal. I think they have not lived up to that pedestal. That is why when FDC broke, Semujus did not find salt in going to NOP. They got disappointed. If NOP had lived to the pedestal that they had talked about, and you can see this.
But himself when they are established parties.
No.
That's a normal phone.
I'm saying they
are being theoretical.
No. I'm saying
was UPC and saying that both of them.
Maybe the word pedestal is too cumbersome.
No, not cumbersome.
Let me use
human beings. Let me use there was UPC and DP himself and formed UPM.
No, let me use another word, expectations. I think to many opposition people, groups and leaders in the opposition, the expectations they expected of NOP of these last 5 years, they are disappointed.
But are you empirical?
And that's partly why I think.
But
no, listen. You know how many members you have joined the NOP as members of parliament. Be a heckler. Learn to listen, please.
I'm listening.
Don't froth.
No, don't. I'm sorry. Not very
me. Don't froth. Don't froth, please. Now, I think that's why, even when Semuju was disappointed with Nandara Mafabi and FDC, he didn't join you. Even when you have 57 members of parliament, no one is joining you from parliament. They are crossing to other places.
So they got 2 from Masaka.
Not 2.
Nantongo.
I'm talking about. I'm going to so, and in the country, and you need to accept that probably you did not meet certain expectations. That's why even when you are a leading political opposition party, the other parties are not joining you. They are not even looking for you to form tactical election alliances. They are not looking for NOP in this election. They are not looking for you. If they are looking for you, maybe in hiding. Maybe in hiding, in fear, in fear, yeah. But that's why you are disagreeing with him robustly here. Because you don't, so you have not fulfilled, you have not met their expectations of what they thought, they believed of a leading opposition party, which has got, as he said, a larger mandate, a numerical strength in parliament than any other opposition group being the NRM. And so, for me, this is not a new trend in Uganda's politics. Because of partly what Muwanga Kivumbi himself said and Akena, that we are generally, the political elites in Uganda are generally self-serving. We don't look at, we give the common issues lip service. All of them are saying they want to remove NRM, they want to remove Museveni. But underneath, they are actually simply looking for parliamentary constituency, which NRM has made so lucrative, so juicy. All these guys are fighting more to get back to their constituency, come back to parliament. Self-preservation.
He was in Mbarara North where he lost.
No.
You mean he was also looking for a lucrative job?
Listen.
He didn't go to Museveni first, he was in Mbarara where he was
Museveni had been the Minister of Defense.
Yeah. So he went to contest himself defeated.
Museveni ran for President of Uganda, by the way.
No, there was no running for President of
simultaneously, if you're the party leader and you win, and your party
was in Mbarara North where Kutesa defeated him.
Listen,
so you went to Ruel after losing an election.
Listen. Museveni ran as member of parliament simultaneously as his party leader. So if his party had won, he would have become the president. But we are diverting. So, but you can't win. No, that was the law. That was the law.
Which constituency did Dr. Obote run for?
That was the law.
No, which constituency did Dr. Obote run for?
Obote did not.
So he wasn't
it was the law. It was the law, but Obote used the mischief actually. He used the mischief. Obote used the mischief.
So the guy was running for president of parliament?
Yes. Obote used the mischief because the people organized the election. We are using dominant group.
But President Museveni was the vice chair of the military commission.
Yes, you can,
which was organizing
action. You can be a figurehead vice president. Have you seen them? You are the one who has just left to offer to Akena.
Anyway, what's your point now?
So I am saying the opposition won't be able to unite because that's your wish. And people from opposition, that's your wish that they unite and give NRM a run for its money. But the country can't unite when you, the spokespersons of your entities that are supposed to galvanize them, you are not only disunited, but you are also conflicting. Some of your conflicts are irreconcilable. Some of your conflicts are not just irreconcilable, but they are also extremely antagonistic. The reason why you fell out with the FDC, the reason you can't join him, the reason you have said Akena has 4 factions, the reason Mpuga, after falling out with the Muwanga Kivumbi, he is not joining you. Instead, he chose to form his DF. And I am saying those are simply fronts for personal gain.
Thank you.
We are discussing what is now.
What we're discussing has happened
at the onset.
We shall say how many votes PFF will get.
Well, fine, thank you. Can I take over the show? At the onset, NUP was looked at as an alternative that came to do away with the evils that had infiltrated other parties, the traditional parties. Do you imagine they are falling in the same trap?
I am still thinking that your focus is in the wrong direction. In all honesty, as things are now, the main task which NUP has is using the official platform to keep government in check. And that one is not strictly only NUP. My young brother, Honorable Simuju, has done a good job on constantly keeping that issue. But now, when we're focusing so much on the inner workings, or as Mr. Jason talks about the threat of NRM or the threat of Museveni in the political landscape, you see, Museveni is not invincible. And there are people who fear Museveni as if he's got some whatever. No. Yes, but he's not. He's a human being, right? And there are areas where we need, as Ugandans, to address what is our problem. And this issue where we keep going around, how are we addressing this future of Uganda? The politics. My issue around IPOD, which I've always talked about, is we need strong parties. Strong parties help guarantee our democracy. So even if
is the strength of getting compromised?
Even if I disagree with I'd rather have an NRM which is functional and organized, NUP which is functional organized, PFF which is functional organized, than have something which is hollow, which the parties often will go through that difficulty. And that's why this issues of funding come in and whatever. But funds have been used to misrepresent and also to portray a different position.
Okay, now, do you worry that NRM, whether NUP, is suffering the same fate other parties have suffered, where money, favoritism, and other evils have brought them down, have grossly compromised them?
And I am not worried per se, because I honestly believe that we will find a way through this one. And as far as I'm concerned, I know what I'm prepared to do and what we're working towards in this 2026.
Can Muwanga give us the report of Chairman Nyanzi's extortion? Because that was formed long ago.
Now OO is here just to disrupt people.
I'm not disrupting. I thought
okay, if OO wants to jump into this one, I will go back to where we were in Kololo. People talked about elders or whatever. Who talked about the people of Busoga? Up to today, who's talking about the people of Busoga? Can you really explain this economic miracle which NRM talk 6% growth and whatever, and poverty is finishing people in Busoga? Okay. Now when we go on to economic issues, you're going to now interrupt us and stop us again.
Okay. Honorable, I know it was just an interjection, but maybe it's very important, because we are talking about the evils or the gross irregularities within processes. OO is asking about a commission of inquiry that was instituted to probe allegations of bribery and sex.
Simon, as a friend, when you come with a particular issue and you lose a cause, you don't persist on it. you came here to make a point, to portray NUP as a party full of favoritism, full of bribery, corruption. You've lost it. Since we started.
Was there an inquiry established?
And you keep coming.
Was there an inquiry established?
You keep coming and coming and coming and coming. One, NUP doesn't work in an OCS. It's part and parcel of what he has described, Uganda body politic. And he has described it well, that all these young people in NUP, the only thing they've known is Museveni and NRM.
And his dark arts.
And the dark arts. Now, you, as not a realist, want us to operate without that reality. We must navigate through and bring change, aware of the dark arts of NRM. Now, if you want us to behave so naive, to behave normally in an abnormal situation, then we're abnormal.
No, but I think you're not answering the question.
I'm answering your question.
Where is the report on investigations into sex and money?
I'm answering the report. At least there was an investigation.
Yes.
Now,
and what did it reveal?
No. Is this the forum?
Yes, it is.
Unless you are subversive.
No.
Yes.
No is accountable.
No, what I'm saying, what I'm saying, unless you're also part of the dark art of Museveni.
No. Why do you find it troubling? Why do you find it troubling to lay on the table?
Njala, what interest do you have in painting NUP that level? Because you are also becoming an agent.
Why?
You are becoming an agent simply because it's your own interest. As Akena said.
No, look. It was a public pronouncement from your principal that the commission.
As a man of good heart.
Yes.
Have a good will to every institution that is born. It's not any credit
Muwanga,
to use the platform. To use the platform. No, I'm also
without answering.
I'm putting in the cross. Don't use your privileged position of being the host of the platform to paint a ridiculous political party.
I asked a very innocent question.
You are also part of a deeper state then.
I think that is a skepticism now. I asked a very simple question.
No, I'm also asking you. What I'm asking you, as a man of a good will and good heart, who wishes Uganda well, who wishes political party well, what benefits do you get in persisting on that line?
Leonard, because is it important for the country to interrogate?
You are also part of the dark. Of the deeper state.
No, I think you're just being paranoid.
No, I'm not being paranoid.
You're just being paranoid.
Because you've come back on it.
Yes, it's very important.
It's as if it's what brought you here.
You are not giving us answer.
As if it's what you. Njala.
You're not giving us answer. You're simply
starting. Let me also be personal to you. Because Njala, I know you were at one time disappointed with no. Because you have ever thought it's cash. And you failed. Don't use that opportunity here to vent your.
I have never saw you did. That's for the record.
You are my friend. I know what you are doing.
Never.
And you don't use that frustration. You've been a parliamentary candidate and failed and Nope defeated you. And you want to use that opportunity. Yes. No. Yes. No. You don't see any Busiro.
I think you don't have history.
You will not see any Busiro.
Was there a Nope in 2016? No, was there a Nope in 2016?
This perhaps, but I see a sprinkle of Nope. At least I can say a poster in Toro roundabout, a poster of a Nope parliamentary candidate and a presidential candidate. As I drive along the way, I see the sprinkles of Nope. So yes, I agree with you, there is no PFF.
And so that's what I'm saying.
And there is no DA.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I want you to separate the behavior of a political elites in Uganda. All of us, we tend to be generally opportunistic and self-centered.
With the exception of not all.
And I'm saying generally, and I'm being general. Even if Museveni, you told Museveni you are no longer president or chairman of NRM, he will form another political party.
Okay.
Even Akenaiya is no longer president of UPC. He will form UPC.
Thank you. Honorable Jim Akena, when you see all these fissures emerging within political parties, do you want to buy into the thinking that actually now the opposition is the enemy unto themselves?
No, I think we're getting the whole story wrong. There's an element of, at some level, especially Parliament, there's a financial attraction or a perceived financial attraction for somebody to be in Parliament. But what I can say about human nature is that put a group of people, any group, whether there's resource or anything, somebody will want to show that they're the leader. There will be those who look around and maybe give trust in somebody, but that question of leadership or the desire to show leadership will emerge whether there's a lucrative aspect to it or not. It is the common nature of human beings and group dynamics. So it's how do we manage such a situation? And NRM have made it worse or coming, especially at parliamentary level. I believe NRM have completely destroyed the whole nature of parliament and why people aspire to be in parliament. A lot of this issue of the high salaries around parliament is that parliamentarians have tried to put themselves as the gap, and many of them find themselves trying to fill the gaps where government has failed. In the health services, 90% of parliament have ambulances. Members of parliament have ambulances without a budget to run it.
Do you?
No, I don't.
When they pick patients, they take to their homes.
No.
Oh, they take government facilities.
Now, who is supposed to be running the ambulance services? You see, when we step into something and you create that illusion that you can actually solve the problem, I would rather, us as member of parliament, we put our foot down and we make sure that there's proper health delivery. I watched NRM in their debacle issue about Busoga. and they talk about historical issues, the president is talking about an individual. The same evening, I saw a news item of a 14-year-old girl with a child. And do you know how she was lured? Chapati. Mere chapati. Poverty on the ground. We are not addressing the plight of the people. So this whole politics, we can be posturing who this opposition, what. Our message or our purpose must be how do we improve people's lives.
Honorable Kena, when NUP came on the block, they were looked at as an alternative to the mess that had manifested within the opposition. Do you want to say that they too have failed the mark?
No, I think we, all of us, are failing the mark if we don't understand the problem and have the right prescription. I can tell you openly, none of us can do it alone. None of us. And I make a difference. But we also need to be focused on what it is. Last time I was on this program, I raised the issue about Can I respond to this one? Monitoring and interfering are two different issues.
No, nobody asked.
I know what is going on in NUP. I know what is going on in PFF. Yeah. So if having intelligence and knowing what is going on, I don't interfere.
What is interfering?
No, nobody asked you to interfere. Even to comment, I don't have a need to comment.
Yes.
I don't have a need to comment, but I have a need to know.
Okay, so
don't put words and even issues. And even when you bring this issue about empirical things, if there's empirical things, they would have been airing it. Where they say, I can now in the bed, whatever. I've spoken. I've been in politics for 20 years. Let them play a clip where I've turned around and betrayed the party. Just show me one clip. You see, people just speculating. I have engaged NRM openly. I have been the champion of iPod, where we have a roundtable discussion. I've had bilateral discussions, not only with NRM, with other political players.
Do you have a cooperation? But do you have a cooperation agreement with the NRM?
No.
So how do
your member end up in cabinet? And your member is even telling the constituents that she's going to liberate them and bring freedom from a government she's serving in the cabinet.
No, you have not got her message. I don't know where you get that message.
No, it is on the poster. She says liberation and freedom.
Yes.
From who? From the cabinet, the government.
The issues which they're dealing with there, where Betty has played a big role, is issues of poverty and incomes. So please, if you're not in the politics,
Kena has changed. But even those of us who are working with UPC in the parliament, we had trouble. One time I was the chief opposition whip. I read the names of UPC MPs to committees, NRM, NRM government, whip is also reading them. And I think he needs to accept that part of history. That the Akena you're talking about today, the description you have given is of Akena of yesterday. This particular, and I'm very sure now.
In Parliament,
I am very sure.
UPC has a unique.
But where he is now is embattled. His legitimacy is not a question.
No, in fact,
UPC has a unique position. We have cabinet members on both sides of the house.
No, in fact, Simon, his case of contempt of court again hanging on his head. Why? Because he organized a sham delegates conference when there was a court ruling.
Please.
Yeah? So members have taken him to court.
I want to drive you back.
Yeah, but I want to go to NUP.
Yes. Before the sham issue, I called a delegates conference a week ahead. The court ruling, which I get after the event. Yeah, but Friday evening.
You're illegal.
I organized it. I had organized it. The court ruling tried to undermine it. So please don't say that I went to undermine it.
On this floor, I will not divulge confidential information which I have. But Honorable Kena is not being very forthright with the truth with us.
Yeah, but you're also describing him. You need to understand that his positions, at least as I see them, have changed. The one who was engaging and
it is tactical.
Yes, it will be tactical.
I said as I see them,
and I will explain why. I'll explain why he can change right now.
I can only stop at what I see.
You can only stop. Where we are now, there is Dennis Senap and then there is Akena.
No, there are four.
I don't know who of the two is the legitimate.
No, there are four of them. Actually, the legitimate one now is Peter Waruviri.
No, it is enough.
No. Peter Waruviri was an interim president of that party. They held elections which one Mr. Joseph Ochieng claims to have won, but he also could not access. Now he is in control of the premises of the Uganda House, where the party headquarters.
So is he a coup leader?
Yeah. So then ENAP also came up, and now the misgivings that other people have against him and Mr. ENAP are that they seem to be working for the interests of people within the ruling establishment. Specifically for Mr. ENAP, for example, the information is that he's protecting the interests of the MK group in UPC.
MK has interest in UPC?
Yes, because MK is preparing for power. These people are just are not looking at it that way. MK is preparing for power. His father is also helping him to prepare for power.
Is Jimmy and MK as children of presidents? Having a convergence of mind.
That has been, of course, in the open.
Okay, you get to know as we take a break.
Let me go to NUP. See, the NUP, I said I credit Honorable Muwanga for coming out and saying we are scared of President Museveni influencing the outcome. even NUP has played those dark arts in other places during NRM primaries. In parts of Bugisu, there are NUP members that could go and vote for NRM candidates who are weaker, so whom they believe that would be defeated at the ballot. But be that as it may, NUP, I personally have reservations about the NUP, and I have stated it before, that the NUP, having taken the position they took in 2021, by the way, something that nobody else had done, to wipe the NRM out of an entire region. Nobody else had done it. Even Dr. Besigye at his prime had not managed to do that. But the NUP managed to do that. But then they did not...
Did they wipe?
Yes, they wiped the NRM out of Buganda. NRM picked a few seats in where? Zimbabwe? I think 2-3 seats.
And in the cattle corridor?
Yes, in the cattle corridor, maybe 1-2-3 seats. But they wiped NRM out of Buganda. Nobody had done that. That's why you see, President Museveni was determined to decimate NUP. And then, the reason why he did not go about it the way we would have known Vintage Museveni to go about it is because he realized that there was an invisible hand that comes from this family.
Yeah, but Leonard, still as we take a break, I think it would be far-fetched now to blame Museveni for the shambolic processes, vetting processes. No, President Museveni's shadow is hanging over all these political parties. And I want to tell you that what we are having right now is the legacy of President Museveni, confusion in our politics. Okay? Whatever you see in Uganda today is Musevenism proper. This is the legacy of President Museveni. Yeah, I told you here that it is monkey see, monkey do. The President General of NUP, the Secretary General, the spokesperson are all Museveni grandchildren. These are people who have never seen any other election. The only elections they have seen, bar of course when they travel out of the country maybe as part of election observer missions, the only elections they have seen here is how the NRM of Museveni employs the dark arts to lock out opponents, how people bribe. So two things now define electoral politics in Uganda today: militancy and money. And those are signature aspects of President Museveni. Yeah, but I think you're missing the point. We're looking at a vetting process that turned out to be chaotic and messy, begging quite a number of questions. We are looking at bribery, we're looking at... But bribery is about money. Why do you say I'm missing the point? I've just told you it is militancy and money. Who's money? Yeah, people are pocketing money to dish out.